some point in life, you catch your own reflection and feel something strange, like the person staring back doesn't quite match the one you thought you'd be. It's not always sadness or failure. Sometimes it's just a quiet ache, a sense that something deep inside is missing or asleep. That's where transformation begins, not in the gym, not in a seminar, not on January 1st. It starts right there, in that silent conversation between who you are and who you know you could become. Most people think transformation is about doing more, reading more books, waking up earlier, staying motivated. But real change doesn't start with action. It starts with awareness. It's not an event, it's an unfolding, a kind of psychological rebirth that happens when you begin to see through your own illusions. You stop asking, "What should I do?" and start asking, "Who am I being?" You see, the mind is tricky. It loves predictability. It holds on to old identities because they feel safe, even when they're suffocating you. You might want to grow, but your brain wants to keep you familiar. Psychologists call this homeostasis, a built-in mechanism that keeps your sense of self consistent. That's why new habits often crumble. You can change your behavior for a week or two, but unless your identity shifts, the old patterns always pull you back. That's the hidden truth about transformation. It's not a behavior problem, it's an identity problem. You don't rise to your goals, you fall to your self-concept. And once you begin to question that concept, once you start noticing the invisible walls built from beliefs like, "I'm not good enough," or "It's too late for me," something inside begins to crack open. That's awareness. It's the first spark of rebellion against your conditioning. Because the moment you see the pattern, you're no longer completely controlled by it. Your brain starts to rewire itself, literally. Every conscious decision to think differently creates new neural pathways. Change, in scientific terms, is physical. You're not just changing your life, you're reshaping your brain. And yes, it's uncomfortable. It feels like chaos because your old self is fighting to survive. But that chaos? It's proof that transformation has begun. There's this strange middle ground most people never talk about, the liminal phase. It's the in-between, where the old version of you has faded, but the new one hasn't fully arrived yet. Feels like being suspended between two worlds. You're no longer who you were, but not yet who you'll be. It's uncertain, confusing, sometimes lonely, but it's sacred. Your brain reflects this process too. When you step into the unknown, quit a job, leave a relationship, face your shadow, your brain's default mode network lights up. That's the part responsible for self-reflection and rewriting your story. You're literally re-editing the narrative of who you are. Every time you repeat a new belief or act from a new intention, you're carving a new pattern into your mind. The problem is, most people try to skip this phase. They want transformation without uncertainty, growth without growing pains. They cling to willpower, trying to force change while secretly identifying with their old self. "I want to be confident," they say, while still believing deep down that they're not. The subconscious sees through the act. You can't fake your way into a new identity. It starts with honesty, not effort. Radical honesty doesn't mean judging yourself. It means seeing yourself clearly. Here's what hurts. Here's what I've been avoiding. Here's what I still fear. That kind of truth breaks the illusions that keep you stuck. It's like cleaning a wound. It stings, but it's the only way to heal. Once you stop trying to fix yourself and start understanding yourself, everything shifts. Transformation stops feeling like a battle and starts feeling like reconciliation. Because what you resist persists, and what you feel heals. When you face your emotions instead of burying them, fear, anger, shame, they stop ruling you from the shadows. Neuroscience backs this up. When you meet discomfort with compassion instead of judgment, the brain's fear center relaxes. You regain access to your higher reasoning. In other words, kindness toward yourself literally makes you more capable of change. Here's something people rarely talk about: Your environment shapes your identity more than your willpower ever could. You can have the strongest intentions in the world, but if your surroundings constantly remind you of who you used to be, your brain gets mixed signals. The people you spend time with, the content you consume, the energy of your space, they all reinforce a story about who you are. Transformation means rewriting that story from the inside out and the outside in. If you're trying to become more peaceful, but your life is full of noise, your nervous system never gets the message. If you want to grow creatively, but surround yourself with cynicism, your potential suffocates. That's why changing your environment isn't just practical, it's psychological. It's about creating alignment. And yet, the deeper work is internal, because environment can support your growth, but belief determines it. Beliefs aren't just ideas, they're instructions to your body. When you believe something's impossible, your brain prepares for failure before you even begin. But when you believe it's possible, your biology shifts. Your heart rate, focus, and energy align with that belief. It's not mystical, it's neuroscience. That's why visualization and affirmation aren't fluff. When done with emotion and consistency, they rewire your brain. You're rehearsing the new identity until it feels real. Over time, resistance fades, and the new version of you feels natural. But remember, transformation isn't about pretending. Pretending says, I'm not this yet. Embodying says, I'm remembering what I already am. Real transformation isn't about becoming, it's about returning. Because deep down, you've always been complete. You just built layers of protection, masks to survive, roles to fit in, stories to stay safe. Over time, those masks started to feel like your face. But self-transformation is about peeling them off, one by one, until you meet yourself again. It's not about chasing a new you, it's about freeing the real one. There's a term in psychology, ego death. Sounds dramatic, but really it's just the loosening of your grip on the mask you've been wearing. You stop defending your opinion so fiercely. You stop needing to be right. You stop needing to be anyone at all. That's when transformation stops being effort and starts becoming peace. Authenticity isn't a final destination. It's fluid. You change, you adapt, you evolve. Who you are today might not be who you were yesterday, and that's okay. It's not inconsistency, it's growth. Real transformation is less about arriving and more about aligning. It's choosing truth over image, awareness over illusion, and courage over comfort. But courage isn't loud, it's quiet. It's the steady kind that keeps going even when no one's watching. Because changing means losing versions of yourself, and sometimes people who were attached to those versions. Growth can look like loss before it looks like liberation, but every tear, every confusion, every dark night of the soul, it's all energy being released. You're not falling apart, you're shedding what no longer fits. As the old emotions surface and dissolve, something magical happens. Time feels different. The future stops being something you chase. It starts unfolding naturally from your choices in the present. You move from striving to allowing. You stop trying to become and start being. And paradoxically, that's when transformation happens faster, when you stop chasing it. Eventually, you realize transformation isn't visible to others. It's not loud. It's quiet. It's in your calm responses. The way you no longer need to prove yourself. The softness that replaces defensiveness. The peace that replaces chaos. That's when you know you didn't just change. You integrated, you matured, you came home to yourself. In conclusion, transformation isn't about becoming extraordinary. It's about realizing how extraordinary it already is, to be ordinary but aware. It's not about chasing some perfect version of yourself. It's about aligning your inner world until your outer world naturally reflects it. And that alignment starts with honesty, compassion, and awareness, qualities that can't be rushed. So if you're standing in that in-between space, unsure, uncomfortable, maybe even afraid, know that you're not lost. You're in the sacred process of becoming. Don't run from the confusion. Stay awake through it. Every time you face yourself honestly instead of escaping, you evolve. Not all at once, not dramatically, but in quiet, steady ways that eventually change everything. Because in the end, transformation isn't something you do, it's something you live. Every ending you've survived, every lesson you've faced, every time you chose truth over comfort, it was all shaping you into who you were meant to be. You're not behind, you're becoming. And that right there is the miracle no one tells you about.